Hey guys, welcome to FunNGun. Gonna go ahead and say a big thanks to my buddy Jeff for letting me borrow these two guns for this video and quite a few other guns you've seen on my channel and probably seeing later on my channel. And what we're gonna be doing in this video is we're gonna be talking about what I want to call Not A Glocks, or like I like to call Not A Glocks, that is. And these are the two more budget-friendly guns that fall into this category. We got a PSA Dagger and a new Ermox XFire. And we're gonna go ahead and start off this video with showing you what you get with the guns and kind of the value what you get with these two guns. And then we'll get into what the differences are and a few things I don't like about them and a few issues we found, or kind of just weird things we found about them as we shot them, mainly this one, not so much this one. Well, let's go ahead and slide the Dagger out of the way here and move the Ermox over here. We'll grab the case to the XFire here and show you what you get. You get a pretty nice case here. It's well cut out. The gun fits in it nicely. It's already set up, so if you want to put it on the end of the case with the red dot on it, you do get a couple of plates to go in your optics cut here, so you can go ahead and slap a red dot on it. You get two magazines, the one right here and then the one I have off to the side here. And you also get a pretty nice cleaning kit. You get two brushes, one brass, one nylon, a patch jag, a rod, an Allen key, I'm assuming is for your optics plate, and your storage little cylinder here also doubles as a handle for your rod, which is pretty cool. And the gun actually ships with the black grips on it you see here in the top, but my buddy went ahead and installed the red grips here, which I do agree looks quite a bit cooler with the red trigger shoe here. Kind of gives it a little bit more of a unique look, but that is pretty cool that it comes with that. And I'm sure you get all kinds of paperwork and probably a lock and everything as well, which I didn't get in the case here when I got it from him to make the video, but you get quite a bit of stuff with that. Now let's go ahead and get into what you get with your Dagger. Now this is not what you get with all your daggers, but it's what you get with this particular Dagger and the price point these guns come into, which let's go ahead and cover the price point while I'm thinking about it. These guns are in the $350 to $400 range, and I know you can actually get the Dagger here as the grip and the slide, and it comes in at around $250. Then you ain't gonna have a magazine, you're not gonna get the case and everything, which you can actually get into one of these pretty cheap that way. But what you get with the Dagger here, this particular version, he got a nice PSA case. It's got all your little Velcro points in here where you can move the gun around. This is the version of the gun that came with 10 magazines. It came with 10 of your P80 magazines, or not P80, Magpul P-Mags, that is. You get, I think it's 5 of the standard 15 round ones and 5 of the 26 round, no, my bad, 27 rounders there. So that is pretty cool, and this bag actually is a pretty nice bag. Pretty useful to carry the gun around in. I also like how it has a little pocket for the gun to slip into and locks it into it instead of just being bounced around in the case. So pretty nice. And you also get your regular paperwork and all your hardware to mount the red dot to the slide. Pretty nice case though. So it's kind of what you get with the two guns. I'm going to go ahead and show you that the Dagger is empty, and so is the XFire while I'm thinking about it here. So let's go ahead and cover that. And let's get into a few things here about these guns that kind of differ, make them a little different from each other, and different than a Glock for that matter, I guess, since that's kind of what they're patterned around. Well, at least they take Glock magazines and share quite a few internal components with a Glock, that is. So we're gonna go ahead and pop the slide off of our Dagger here. Breaks down just like a regular Glock. Pull back on it, pull down on the little tabs, and your slide comes right off. We're gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the XFire here. You gotta drop the slide, or the hammer, or the striker that is, and you actually got some pretty nice little tabs here on the XFire here. Quite a bit easier to take down versus a regular Glock, and even your Dagger here. Just pull down on those little tabs and it allows you to take the slide off quite a bit easier. So we're gonna go ahead and get that slide off this gun, and this is really where the two guns start to, you can see some differences here. Is you can see your Dagger is pretty well identical to a regular Glock. I'm gonna go ahead and bring in my Glock 17L slide here. This is actually a Zafre Precision, but it's still a regular Glock that this actually fits on. And as you can see, your safety plunger and your striker in the same location. Although this has an aftermarket safety plunger and striker in it, they're still, like I said, in the same location, very similar to each other. Ramped in the middle is the same and everything. Now let's go ahead and set down my 17 slide there. We're gonna pick up our XFire slide here, and as you can see, the XFire safety plunger and the striker assembly are very different, and so is your back plate here. So you're not going to be getting interchangeable back plates with your XFire here. So if you want to have a cool back plate such as I have on my 17L here, you're not going to be able to do that with this gun. Just figure out to point that out there. That's something that's not interchangeable. And this XFire has more of a Gen 4 style recoil assembly versus your Dagger here that has the Gen 3 style. So I know that on this gun you can actually interchange the parts with a Glock if you want to put a heavier recoil guide rod in there or spring or whatnot. You can do that. This gun I'm not 100% sure if it's interchangeable or not with a Gen 4 Glock. I don't have one here to look at. I just know that, like I said, everything in this looks like it does in my 17L here, other than this is a, let's see here, let me just remember what brand this is. Let me look on the package here. This is a DPM triple stage spring system that I have in this particular gun. So that is something you should be able to put in this that you can't put into that if you really want to. So there's a few other things here that's different. Like I said, your takedown tabs here on this are completely different than the ones on the Dagger here. They look just like a regular Glock and are interchangeable with a Glock. This is not, but in my opinion, this is definitely a step up from a Glock one because it is way easier to get a hold of. Your magazine release is also not Glock interchangeable or PSA Dagger for that instance. This is a Gen 3 Glock magazine release, as you'll see here on my 17 frame. It is the same thing, although this has a Glock store extended magazine release button on it. They're the same. You could actually put this into this. So that is something you can do with this that you can't do with this. For that matter, you can order all these gold parts or whatever color you want and put them into your Dagger. You're not going to be able to do that with your XFire here because it's different. Also, the way the trigger's set up here is this has a Timney trigger in it. You could actually take the Timney trigger and put it into the Dagger here. The way it's actually made is very similar to a Glock. And let's go ahead and set that back off to the side. I'm not going to say it would not fit, but I'm not sure if it would fit because the way this is made in the front side here is a little bit, it's shaped a little different. It's rounded off versus being square. So for that reason, I'm not sure if your Timney actual trigger block assembly would fit down into the frame of this gun. But really, other than those few things, this is a nice gun. It's just not technically compatible with most Glock parts. I will say, I believe like your slide release here, and I do think your trigger bar and stuff, like if you want to put a different aftermarket trigger in it, you should be able to put a different disconnector in it and drop the weight down, which is something me and my buddy were talking about doing with this particular gun anyways, because it actually has a pretty nice metal flat face trigger shoe on it. I will say the only problem we really had with that is this pin right here. You can't really tell right now, but you actually, if you're shooting this gun and you shoot it for a few minutes, you put a couple of mags with that pin starts to walk out and you can push it back in with your finger. It's that loose fit, so I'll probably end up putting a dab of Loctite on that to kind of give it a little bit more friction to hold that in for him. But other than that, it's a pretty nice trigger. It just would be a little bit better with a disconnector, and I'd say this trigger's probably around 6 pounds, 6.5 pounds. Your PSA is a little bit better. It's coming in at about 5.5 pounds, 4.5 pounds, around in there. It's not a match trigger by no means, but being a trigger with a split shoe in it like an old Smith & Wesson, it's not a bad trigger. Let's go ahead and click our slide back on here and I'll show you that. That was something about the old Smith & Wesson M&P series guns that I did not like, was the little pivot in the trigger shoe, because it just didn't feel right to me. Now, like I said, these triggers aren't match triggers by no means. You got quite a bit of take up there, a little bit of mush, and keep on going, and it goes ahead and breaks. Go ahead and show you the reset on it. Not a horrible reset. Not an awesome trigger, not a bad trigger. pretty easy to go ahead and shoot pretty quick and get shots, as you'll see me shooting here in just a second. So let's go ahead and put our slide back on our XFire here and show you that it's got a little bit of take up. You got a more easy to tell wall than you do with your PSA. It's not quite as mushy, but the PSA trigger actually breaks a little lighter, I feel like. But let's go ahead and show you that. You just take up the slack there, go ahead and pull on it. Like I said, it's pretty heavy. There it goes. Breaks pretty nice, and then the reset on it's not too bad. It's just, I feel like I said, this gun would be a lot better with a ghost disconnector in it, which is something that probably end up getting done with this eventually. Now, I will say, I believe your PSA Dagger is actually just milled specifically for like an RMR cut, I believe is what it is. This gun, you do get a couple of different slide plates to work with different optics, so that is something you get with your, your XFire that you don't get with your Dagger. And my buddy has put a set of Amerigo sights on this gun, because when he got it, it actually had the taller sights on it, kind of like a suppressor high or co-witness sights, and it's not really what he was going for, so he went ahead and swapped the sights out because he likes the lower sights better. So this gun does have a nice set of sights on it, versus this gun actually comes with a pretty nice set of fiber optics right off the bat. Work pretty well. Nothing super fancy, but do work pretty well. Pick up light and make the dots on there glow pretty well. So that was something that's pretty cool. And I will say, you get 3 Picatinny rail slots on this gun. This gun also, I forgot to mention, is a metal framed gun. The whole gun's metal except for the grips. That's pretty cool. So that kind of is something else that's a little different than a regular Glock. But you get 3 pick rail slots right here versus just your regular Glock notch on the Dagger here. So when it comes down to it, out of the two, the Dagger's definitely closer to a Glock than the XFire here. But really, either gun's pretty nice, but I will say there's a few more things about this gun that I didn't like, versus there's only like one thing about the Dagger I didn't like. So let's go ahead and get into a few of those things. And one of them being that the way my hand fits this gun, when I lock my hand into it, my thumb push forward, this part of the frame right here is not rounded off. It's more squared and actually kind of got a point on it. And it's something that when I got done shooting, I had a red spot on the back of my thumb, kind of just a bummer that they didn't think that out any better. And it wasn't just me. My buddy has a larger hand, and when he was shooting this gun, it was actually doing the same thing to him. So that could have been something they could have easily fixed by just rounding this area and smoothing it out a little bit better than they did. But now let's get into one more thing that me and him noticed that we thought was kind of odd with this gun. As you know, like I said before, the PSA Dagger come with quite a few magazines. Not all of them do, but depending on which one you get, they do come with quite a few. But here's a Magpul P-Mag, which came with this gun. When we was trying this gun, we're going to go ahead and show you that the weird thing we found with this is on the last round, this gun will lock open with the round in the magazine. And that is because on the P-Mag, your follower here actually sticks up a little bit in the front right here and goes ahead and catches on that prematurely. We'll go ahead and stick this P-Mag into our our Dagger here and show you that it works just fine. Doesn't lock the slide open when it's not supposed to, so that's something that's pretty nice there. So let's go ahead and show you that with a few more magazines to show you it's not just one P-Mag that came with this gun. We got another P-Mag here. Go ahead and drop a slide, show you that it does it with that one as well. We'll set that and back off. I'm going to use that to show you in a second a little bit up close of why it's doing that. Then we got a Gen 5 17 mag with the orange follower in it. We're going to go ahead and drop our slide and show you that this magazine works just fine. Locks open. So it's not really all the magazines that do it. I think it's just going to happen with the P mags. We got a 17 mag here with the old black follower in it. Well, didn't do that right. Give me just a second here. Let me drop the slide, put this round back in there real quick. Show you that with it locked open. It does not lock the gun open. We're going to go ahead and show you with the magazine that actually came with the gun, which I do find kind of cool. Although these have an aftermarket base on them, these are almost essentially identical to a regular Glock mag. Got your metal internals. They're windowed. They have the they have the round count on them. They're labeled 9mm. Almost identical mags here. So we're gonna go ahead and show you that factory mag also does not do it. The factory mag also gives you a nice flush fit with the gun, which is pretty cool the way this is cut out. Kind of gives you a little bit, it's not such a mag well, but it gives you something to kind of ram the mag into to get it in. Now I will say there's a little bit of a lip in there, so it doesn't work perfect for that, but it does kind of feed the mag in a little bit, so that's pretty cool. So go ahead and inject that there. Dummy round out, set that to the side. Now I will say we found it kind of odd that with the 27 round mags that this gun came with, this gun picks it up just fine on the last round, does not lock the gun open. So it seems to be just on the 15 round mags here that come with this gun that'll do it. We also got a ETS 40 round mag. Yep, gotta have your big stick. I just got this round because it's funny, let's be honest. And let's go ahead and show you that this mag also does not lock the gun open when it's not supposed to. So let me go ahead and take the slide back off this, and I'm going to show you why it's doing that and why the Dagger here does not do it. Okay, you got them taken apart here. Now if you can watch closely there on your slide catch, I'm going to get that as close as I can. You can actually see the slide catch pushing up on it, and as you can see there, it's springy because the spring tension of the magazine is already pressing on the catch. Now I'll set that frame down, go ahead and pick up the Dagger here. And as you can see, the Dagger, so you get under there, is not springing back, and that is because it is not being touched by the follower yet. Even if you press on the mag, it's not gonna really be a problem. It's just mainly, like I said, on the other gun there, it's the way the tab is bent. It's just bent a little bit lower on it than it is on your Dagger here. So that is something I just wanted to go ahead and show, that if you have P mags, the last round's gonna lock it open every single time. So you're not gonna get proper lock open with them. At least in the experience with this gun and our sample of one, it does do that. So I figured I'd go ahead and cover that now. Let's go ahead and put these guns back together again. I will say, the Dagger is a little bit harder to get back together for some reason than a regular Glock I found. And even the XFire here, you kind of got to jiggle the frame around, or the slide around a little bit on top of it to get it to go back on. That is something about this gun. It is, I'm not going to say it's like smooth as glass or anything, but it is a pretty smooth gun. That was something, actually, one more thing I forgot to show you, I think, when we had this off, is on this particular gun, you got a full length guide rail. Can't remember if I mentioned that or not, but that is something that this gun has that you don't get with the PSA here. The PSA is more like your regular Glock where you just got your two little tabs. So this actually gives you a little bit more bite on the slide here, kind of keeps it from wanting to move up and down as much, kind of more like a CZ75 kind of deal. Not gonna say it's a better or worse thing, it's just something I thought was pretty cool about this gun. I will say it also has some pretty cool looking slide cuts, but the thing I find weird about them is they're pretty well useless as cocking serrations. Like most of them you get, they have pretty good size windows like that. I'll let you cock the gun with them. These, your hand pretty well slides over them like they're almost not there, unlike your Dagger here. You got standard serrations up front, and you can easily cock the slide with it. Now I will say, like, there is one thing about the Dagger I kind of didn't prefer, and that would be the finger bump, or the little bump in the grip there. This gun actually has a pretty good undercut, unlike most Glocks, but the thing I have a problem with, your finger groove here, that is, not the finger bump. Got pretty fat fingers, even though they're not that long, and it kind of just falls in a weird spot. Not just a huge issue. Just kind of feels a little off when I put my hand on this gun, but I like how it has a little shelf there for your trigger finger. Kind of gives you somewhere on the other side also to press your hand. So really, out of the two in the price point, the Dagger's also going to be more proven. A lot more people have fired a lot of rounds through these guns, and they, like I said, they're closer to a Glock than your XFire here. I will say we didn't have any issues or any jams out of either gun, but if I want to pick either one of the two in the price point here, it's going to be the Dagger. And the same thing my buddy said is the grip on it is more comfortable. This part right here is rounded off, doesn't dig into my hand. The fact that it's more compatible with factory Glock parts, and just the fact that it has quite a well-known reliability, I get what's the word I'm looking for, but it's just known to be reliable. That's what I'm saying, I guess. So really, in the cheaper versions of the two guns here, this is definitely the option I would say I would go with, at least until they kind of iron out a few issues on this, like the pin falling out of it. I think that's kind of annoying. Maybe they can figure out how to get to where the slide doesn't lock open with P-mags. That may not, like I said, happen with all of them, but I just found that kind of annoying. And really just the main thing that kind of turns me away from this gun is the dang part on the frame right here that digs into my hand. So that's why I would say the PSA Dagger is the option I would go with if you're looking for a cheap Not A Glock and a pretty good gun at that. So that's all I have for you today. Okay, if you made it this far, I just want to say thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. If you're looking for more FunNGun right now, you can click one of the 2 recommended videos there. If you're looking for more FunNGun later, you can go ahead and click that there subscribe button. I sure would appreciate it. And if you're finding me from Facebook, go ahead and click that open app button at the top to make all that a lot easier, and I'll see you next time.